Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad Aiman Azim bin Abdul Aziz. My program is HEB and my metric number is J20-80497. My experiment is Hooke's law. The theory of the Hooke's law is the displacement of spring is directly proportional to the deforming force of load. In the experiment, we have been given applied force, spring force, displacement, equilibrium position and value. The applied force is the orange arrow, spring force is the blue arrow, displacement is green arrow, equilibrium is the green line, and the value is on the arrow. We have been given the spring constant and applied force. There is two springs on the display. First spring with 100 Newton meter and the second spring constant with 200 Newton meter. So, if we put 10 Newton force on both spring, 100 Newton meter spring will get 0.1 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.05 meter displacement. Next, we put 20 Newton force on both spring. 100 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.200 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.100 meter displacement. Next, we put 30 Newton force on both spring. 100 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.300 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter will get 0.150 meter displacement. Next, we put 40 Newton force on both spring. 100 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.400 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.200 meter displacement. And we put 50 meter. Next, 50 Newton force next, and then 100 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.500 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.250 meter displacement. And we move to 60 Newton force on both spring. On 100 Newton meter spring, we get 0.600 meter displacement. 200 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.300 meter displacement. And next, we put 70 Newton force on both spring. 100 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.700 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.35 displacement. Next, we put 80 Newton force on both spring. 100 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.800 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.400 meter displacement. And we put 90 Newton force next on both spring. So on 100 Newton meter spring constant, we will get 0.900 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter spring constant will get 0.450 meter displacement. In the end, we put 100 Newton force on both spring. On 100 Newton meter spring constant, we will get 1.00 meter displacement, and 200 Newton meter we will get 0.500 meter displacement. The conclusion in this experiment is the strength of a spring is directly proportional to the applied force. Each answer for every displacement is different because the extension of spring is proportional to the load applied to it. The displacement of spring depends on the weight of or the lightness of the load. So the conclusion is, in this experiment, the strength of a spring changes as the force applied on the spring changes. As the force increases, the strength also increases. That's all from me. Thank you.